Hi dear friends, how are you all? Welcome to our YouTube channel HR Tutorials India. In this video, we will be discussing about statutory compliance. Statutory compliance consists of different acts which need to be followed by each and every company. Every country has their own statutory compliances which are to be followed by the companies with respect to their country's statutory compliances. In India, there are statutory compliances that are need to be followed by each and every company. So let us understand what are the major and important statutory compliance that are to be followed by each and every company to run smoothly without any hurdles. In this video, we will be understanding in brief about the different types of statutory compliances that are need to be followed by each and every company. Shops and Establishment Act, Factories Act, EPF Act, ESIC Act, Professional Tax Act, Labour Welfare Act, Maternity Benefit Act, Contract Labour Act, Minimum Wage Act, Payment of Wages Act, Payment of Gratuity Act, Payment of Bonus Act. Statutory compliance. What is statutory compliance? Before getting into different types of statutory compliances, let us understand what exactly statutory compliance means. The word statutory means of or related to statutes, rules and regulations. Compliance means adherence. Thus, statutory compliance means adhering to rules and regulations, which means following the rules and regulations set by the government for the smooth running of an organization or a company with respect to each country's norms. In short, statutory can be called as related to rules and regulations, and compliance means commitment, which means every company has to follow the rules and regulations set by the government with commitment. Statutory compliance in HR refers to the legal framework that an organization should adhere to in dealing with its employees. So, by following statutory compliances, it is advantageous for the organization as well as for the employees. In human resource management, statutory compliance refers to all the legal works that an organization should follow with commitment in dealing with its employees and also the rules and regulations set by the government. Importance of statutory compliance. Every country has its own set of state and central labor laws that companies need to comply with. Dealing with statutory compliance requires companies to be updated on all the labor regulations in their country. It is also mandatory for the companies to adhere to them. As we have already discussed, that each country has its own state and central labor laws with respect to companies, wherein each and every company has to follow these statutory compliances with respect to employees and rules and regulations. And it's the responsibility of the company to be updated with regard to all labor regulations in that country. And it is very much mandatory for each and every company to adhere these rules and regulations. Non-compliance with these regulations can cause a company a lot of legal trouble such as penalties and fines. That is why every company invests a huge amount of money, efforts, and time to meet compliance requirements from Professional Tax to Minimum Wage Act. To help in this, the company seeks expert advice from labor law and taxation law experts. If any company does not follow this statutory compliance, then they need to face the legal troubles such as penalties and fines. So, it is very important for each and every company to follow and adhere to all the statutory compliances set by state and central government of that specific country. That is the reason each and every company invests a huge amount of money, time and efforts to meet all the statutory compliances that requires to be maintained from professional tax to minimum wage, etc. So to follow all the statutory compliances and to be updated regarding these compliances, many companies seeks the experts' advice for labor laws and taxation laws, etc. In order to manage this demanding regulatory environment, every company should be well versed and take notice of all regulations in the labor laws. They need to formulate efficient ways to maintain compliance and minimize risk. As this statutory compliance is mandatory and very demanding for every company, it should be taken on priority basis and should be well versed and take notice of all regulations in the labor laws. And it is also very much needed to formulate the efficient ways to maintain compliances and escape from risks. So it is very important for each and every company to follow statutory compliance and adhere them. Advantages of statutory compliances with respect to employees. Ensures fair treatment of employees. Ensure they are paid fairly for the work they have done and their company complies with minimum wage rate. Prevents employees from working for long hours or inhuman condition. Statutory compliance gives the advantages to employees by treating all employees equally, which is the fair treatment for all employees. Then paying the salaries to employees on fair basis, that is following the Minimum Wage Act and giving right pay to the employees or workers working in that organization. And it also prevents the employees from working for long hours, and it is also helps the employees to be treated in human condition. Advantage of statutory compliances with regards to organizations. Avoids penalty or fines because of their timely payments. Protects the organization from unreasonable wage or benefit demands from trade unions. Prevents legal troubles as the company is fully compliant. Mitigates risk and increases awareness among compliance. With compliance in place, there is a lower risk of an adverse incident. Statutory compliance not only benefits employees but also the companies or the organizations. By following the statutory compliance, companies will avoid penalties and fines by timely making payments to respective departments, and also protects the employees from unreasonable wage and salary benefits demands from the trade unions. It helps the company in preventing from legal troubles by fully complying with the statutory rules and regulations. By following statutory compliance, awareness increases and mitigates the risks. And by following the compliance, it lowers the risk of an adverse incident. Risk of statutory compliance. Penal actions and financial losses to the organization. Loss of reputation and business integrity. Customer loyalty will be impacted severely. If any company does not follow the statutory compliance, there are risk factors which are as follows. An organization has to face the penal actions and there could be financial losses as well. By not following the statutory compliance, there will be a loss of business integrity and loss of reputation as well. And the company will be impacted severely with customer loyalty. Labor law compliance in India. Labor law compliance in India are broadly classified into 4 categories: social security compliances, wage compliances, industrial relation compliances, and benefits for women compliances. Let us now see what are the different acts that are in each category of labor law compliance in India. In social security compliance, all the acts are related to employee social security, wherein in industrial relation, all the acts are related to industries, shops and factories. Whereas in wage compliances, it is related to wages and payments and bonus. Coming to benefits for women, it is related to maternity, sexual harassment and Equal Remuneration Act. Let us know what are the different acts are there in Social Security. Employees Provident Fund Act 1952. This is related to EPF, that is the security of an employee after retirement. Employee State Insurance Act ESI, which is the health safety for the employees. Payment of Gratuity Act 1972. This is a payment that is received for an individual after completing 5 years service with the company or at the time of retirement. Then comes Labour Welfare Fund Act. This is a welfare fund for the laborers working in an organization. So these are the acts that comes under Social Security. Then comes Industrial Relations. Industrial Dispute Act 1947. This helps in solving the disputes among the employees and among the management and employees. Industrial Employment Standard Orders Act 1946. This act helps in creating employment awareness in the organization. Trade Unions Act 1926. This act helps the employees to form a union and fight for their benefits with the organization. Factories Act 1948. These are the acts which are to be followed in factories. Shops and Establishment Act. This act is related to all shops and companies like IT, etc. These are the acts that are covered under industrial relation. Then comes Wages. Code of Wages 2019, which covers Payment of Wages Act 1936. This act deals with right to payment of wages for the employees working in an organization. Minimum Wage Act 1948. This act deals with the minimum amount of wages that are to be paid to the workers in different categories, that is skilled, semi-skilled and unskilled labor. Then comes Payment of Bonus Act 1965. This act says that bonus has to be paid to the employees depending upon the profits earned by the organization. Then comes Equal Remuneration Act 1976. This act explains about the equal treatment of remuneration among the employees. So these are the acts that comes under wages compliance. Then finally comes the Benefits for Women category. Equal Remuneration Act 1976, which explains that the remuneration should be equal with related to skills but not related to gender. So even every employee, it could be male or female, remuneration should be equally treated depending upon skill set. Maternity Benefit Act 1961. This act defines about the maternity benefit that need to be provided to the woman during her maternity. Then comes Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013. This act is related to sexual harassment of women at workplace. By following this act, it creates safe workplace for the women to work without any harassment. So these are the acts which covers under the category Benefits for Women Compliance. So we have understood the 4 categories of compliances in brief. In the upcoming videos, we will be discussing about each act in detail, which will give a better clarity for you about all the acts that are to be followed by a company in India. So dear friends, hope you have understood what statutory compliance is, what are the advantages of statutory compliances, what are the risks of not following the statutory compliance, and finally what are the different categories of statutory compliances. In the upcoming videos, we will be discussing in detail about each statutory compliance, that is PF, ESI, gratuity, professional tax, TDS, maternity benefit, minimum wages, bonus act, Factories Act, Industrial Dispute Act, etc. If you like this video, please subscribe and share among your friends. Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a nice day.